Alright, so after that mega test of all those skills, we're finally going to start jumping back into doing more skills. So this first one is called Evaluate Trig Functions of Any Angle. And so far, all we've been working with are acute angles. So, for example, we had our 45, 45, 90 triangle. All of those angles that we've been working with, acute. We've also worked with the 30, 60, 90, also acute. And then we've worked with some various angles during the angles of elevation and depression. However, those were also all within the context of a triangle. But now we're going to talk about angles with regard to the coordinate grid. Alright, so back to where we started. Remember at the beginning of the year we talked about angles and how they have an initial side and a terminal side, and the angle is between those two. Well, we talked about angles also being in the third quadrant or the second quadrant and the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So we've had all different types of angles that we worked with at the beginning of the year, but then we started working specifically within triangles. Now we're going to zoom back out and be working in the context of a coordinate grid. And the first thing we need to talk about is your word worth knowing. A quadrantal angle. Those are special angles that fall on the x or y axis. So for example, we now know our radians, so we know an angle that looks like this would be a 90-degree angle or a pi over 2 radian angle. And that would be considered quadrantal because it falls on the y-axis. Additionally, we could have an 180-degree angle or pi. Okay, and it would look like that. And we could also have 270 and 360 and so on and so forth. And remember, they keep going around and around and around. So those are what quadrantal angles are, and they are very special. We're going to be working with those today. But then we're also going to be working with those angles that just fall in between quadrants but are bigger than the first quadrant. So that's a little introduction to what we're going to be learning about in this lesson.